Back in 2013, a truly chilling discovery inside a downtown Los Angeles hotel kicked off a modern mystery that, to this day, the internet just can't let go of. This is the deeply unsettling story of Elisa Lam. This right here, this is the question that started a global obsession. I mean, think about it for a second. A young tourist found inside a water tank on the roof of a hotel. How on earth does that even happen? So let's actually start this story at the end. Or, well, at the moment the mystery was finally uncovered. So for days, guests at the notorious Cecil Hotel had been complaining. The water pressure was terrible, it had a weird taste, and it was black. So a maintenance worker named Santiago Lopez goes up to the roof to check on these massive water cisterns, and that is when he makes an absolutely gruesome discovery: the body of Elisa Lam. Before she became the face of 1,000 internet theories, it's so important to remember that Elisa Lam was a real person with a family and a life that she was actually very open about. So who was she? Elisa was a 21-year-old student from Vancouver, and she was on this big solo adventure, traveling down the West Coast. She was clearly bright and adventurous, but she was also incredibly candid on her blog about her personal struggles with mental illness. And this part of her story, it becomes absolutely crucial for understanding what happened. This quote, which she posted on her blog, really gives you a glimpse into her headspace. It's from the author Chuck Palahniuk. "You're always haunted by the idea you're wasting your life." Wow. I mean, it speaks to this deep anxiety and this feeling of being a bit lost, a vulnerability that I think really resonated with people and made them feel connected to her story. Now, her diagnosis became a central piece of the official investigation. Her family told authorities that she had a history of, at times, not taking her prescribed medication. And when that happened, it could lead to severe episodes, sometimes involving hallucinations, where she would feel the need to hide for her own safety. And there were some signs that she was in distress during her stay. She was originally booked into a shared room, but her roommates complained to management about what they called odd behavior, things like leaving strange notes around. So the hotel moved her into a private room just a few days before she went missing. This brings us to the single piece of evidence that turned this case from a local tragedy into a worldwide internet phenomenon. The police were getting desperate for leads, so they released this surveillance footage from one of the hotel's elevators. They were hoping someone would recognize something, give them a clue. But instead, they unleashed an absolute firestorm of speculation. Because what this video shows is just deeply, deeply strange. Okay, so here's what you see. She walks into the elevator and presses a whole bunch of buttons, but for some reason, the door doesn't close. She then peeks out into the hallway really cautiously, jumps back in, and presses herself into a corner where the camera can't see her. Then she steps back out and makes these really bizarre, almost dance-like hand gestures before just walking off. After she's gone, the elevator doors finally slide shut. The internet just exploded. Suddenly, everyone was an armchair detective. Was she hiding from someone just out of the frame? Was she on some kind of drug? A lot of people were convinced the video was edited, pointing to a weirdly obscured timestamp. But the most persistent theory kept coming back to her mental health. So, with all that speculation running wild, what did the actual investigation uncover? Let's try to separate the online theories from the cold, hard, forensic facts. So here's the official timeline. Elisa is last seen on January 31st. Her parents report her missing about a week later. On February 13th, the police put out that elevator video. Then on the 19th, her body is found. It wasn't until that summer, in June, that the final coroner's report came out with the official answers. So what did the coroner find? Well, officially, her death was ruled an accidental drowning. The report said there was no foul play, no signs of trauma, no assault, and no illegal drugs in her system. But, and this is the crucial part, toxicology reports showed she was seriously under-medicating. This suggested she was likely having a psychotic episode, probably brought on by not taking her bipolar medication. But I know what you're thinking. Even with that official report, some major questions still lingered, which is what kept all those conspiracy theories alive. So let's tackle them with the facts we have. All right, this was a huge one for a lot of people. The main doors to the roof were supposed to be locked and alarmed. So how could she possibly have gotten up there without anyone knowing? Well, the answer turned out to be surprisingly simple. The hotel had an external fire escape that you could get to, and it went all the way up to the roof, completely bypassing those locked doors. In fact, police dogs had actually lost her scent right near a window that led directly to it. Okay, now for the question that is probably the most debated point of all. Those water tank lids are heavy, so how could she have climbed in and then pulled that lid shut over herself? It just doesn't seem possible. And here is the key detail that so often gets lost in all the noise. She didn't close it. The employee who found her body stated very clearly that the lid on the tank she was in was open. She never closed it from the inside. The most likely scenario is that she climbed in, maybe seeking refuge, and then just couldn't get back out. So if all the evidence really does point to a tragic accident, then why does this case still haunt us so much? Well, for one thing, the facts are just eerily similar to a horror movie. I mean, it's almost a perfect match for the plot of the 2005 horror film Dark Water. That shocking coincidence alone was enough to make the story go completely viral. And the case left a huge mark on pop culture. It inspired episodes of big TV shows like Castle and How to Get Away with Murder. People wrote songs about it, and of course, it was the focus of that huge Netflix docuseries that introduced the whole story to a brand new generation. In the end, that's the divide we're left with. On one side, you have a coroner's report with a logical, science-based explanation for a heartbreaking accident. On the other, you've got this collection of really unsettling images and bizarre facts that for a lot of people will just never feel right. And that strange, unsettling feeling, that's why the story of Elisa Lam endures.